What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and this is Legion, Season 1, Episode 2, Chapter 2. Still loving these episode titles because it's just so easy. I don't have to go look it up or try to remember it or stumble over words. It's just Episode 1, Chapter 1, Episode 2, Chapter 2, Episode 3, Chapter... It's awesome. It's great. But anyway, so yeah, first two episodes are gone, and I'm loving it so far. It's so much fun to watch. Just kind of taking it all in, watching it, trying to figure some things out, but for the most part, just marveling at just how amazing it is. Just the writing is awesome, the directing is great, the camera work is incredible, the music behind it is amazing. I mean, I I listened to the entire not the credits rolling, but before that, the little, I guess, outro to the show with the little boxes showing up. I'm sure that's a reference to something that I just don't know what it is because I don't know stuff. But I listened to the whole thing laughing because it was just so funny. After all of this entire episode, the scary, the spooky, all the stuff going on, and then the ending like this catchy little tune is just it was funny. I'm just like, this is hysterical. It's the freaking ending song to the show, and I'm laughing at it. It's incredible how they managed to do that. But anyway, let's talk about the actual story itself, because once again, I love that they're keeping it like this. It's almost like by the end of the episode, that's when you finally understand what's going on. Because at first, you're just kind of like, what exactly is happening? They're going kind of cutting back and forth. You're kind of seeing things done out of order, and so you're just like, what exactly is happening? And so it does take a minute to really get adjusted and see what's going on. So we see he's been taken by this Miss Bird to, I'm guessing, kind of like a discount, school for gifted children, kind of like Professor Xavier's school, but I think a little bit more secretive, because it sounds like this is more maybe after Professor X and the X-Men, maybe after that time where there's a full-on war going on between mutants and humans. So that's kind of interesting that they did confirm there is a war going on, and Miss Bird believes that David is the key to sort of ending all of it. But it starts off in such an interesting way, because we see like flashes of them escaping and then trying to find this place, and they get there, and we see that the Division 6, I think they're called, Division 3, is the Division something. The people that are trying to track them down and kill them and experiment on them. We see that they're using dogs trying to find them, trying to figure out where they are, and they're being led by that creepy-looking guy that at first I thought he was actually an old lady, but then you get a close look at him and you're just like, no, wait, that's a man. But they're trying to track him down, and then we see David is like freaking out in bed because he hears the voices. He's off his meds, so the voices are coming in loud and clear. And kind of made me think of that scene in Man of Steel where we see Superman as a kid, and he's like hearing all of the voices because his hearing is just that good. Kind of similar thing where he can't filter out the voices, but he's hearing everybody's thoughts coming in his head. And so it's kind of interesting to see him like freaking out with that. But then Miss Bird steps in. She says, all right, I want you to find the voice saying David. And it's her voice in his head saying David over and over again. He gets that voice, and she's like, hold on to that, and then turn the rest of the voices down like a volume knob. And so he visualizes a volume knob like a big one, and then he starts turning, and all the voices go lower. And I'm like, that's like a brilliant visual representation right there. Like, I love the fact that we get to see a lot of this stuff as well as experience it from his point of view. They do a very good job of visualizing a lot of these abstract and metaphorical images. So I really enjoy that part. And then on top of that, we see that they're going to do this thing called memory work. So they get into this box, they all hold on to these little metal poles sticking out of a table, and the black guy, who, probably the best name in the show so far, Patanomy, that's awesome. I don't know why, but just saying that, just Patanomy. I love that name. Apparently he has the ability to get into people's memories, so whenever David was going through his memory in the first episode, and all of a sudden Sid showed up, he did that. He put her in his memory to give him the information to escape from the division, whoever. So that was very interesting to see that he's the one who did that, because I think I did ask that question, like, how does she get in his mind? This is how. And so he takes Miss Bird and David back to a time when he was a child, and then we see some very interesting things going on. And this is what kind of sets the tone going forward in the episode, because we see who we believe to be David's father reading him a book, and all of a sudden we see it's like about a kid or the angry little boy, and it's like killing his mother, beheading her or something like that. And I'm just like, whoa, what is this? And then all of a sudden the room starts shaking, and David's freaking out, and so they have to, put him to sleep to keep him from going absolutely insane. So that kind of sets the tone for this episode. You kind of, it's in a mood where you feel like it's kind of innocent. He's a kid, and he's just experiencing all of this again, and we're trying to figure out what's going on. And then all of a sudden it turns dark like that. And there are several scenes that happen that way. There's a moment where it just feels like, oh, we're just in another scene in his memory, and all of a sudden dark in an instant. I'm just like, holy crap. A couple of the scenes that just sort of stood out the most for me. One in particular was they go into they're watching him in this kind of interrogation. He's seeing a psychiatrist. This was before he ended up in the mental hospital, and there was a moment, and I saw it the first time. I was like, wait, that was weird. Are they not going to talk about that? And then they do later. There was a moment where it kind of skipped. He was talking, and all of a sudden it skipped and it moved on. She's like, what was that? What was that? And so we see, he goes back and tries to remember, and all of a sudden it flashes to that moment in the kitchen where everything was blowing up. And so all of a sudden he's just like, all right, so clear your mind. Ptolemy's talking to David. Clear your mind and take us I'll take us back there. And so he does that, and all of a sudden they end up back in the room with little David again. It's like, wait, what? And all of a sudden, like, we see the room start shaking. And it's just like, David, stop. He's like, I'm not doing this. I really am not. And you can tell he doesn't know what's going on either. All of a sudden the door slams closed. I'm just like, whoa, what's going on? Books start flying off the shelves, and then the angry little boy book falls on the floor. And you see little David, like, sit up and close his eyes, and then it goes, and big David's closing his eyes. So clearly something is happening. So as it continues forward, we just see something is going on with his. It's beyond just he has telepathic, telekinetic powers. Something else is going on here. The demon with the yellow eyes, whoever this creature is, clearly it has a big effect on David. And we start to see that more and more. We see another scene where he's sitting in the psychiatrist's room again, and all of a sudden he hears like this deep voice start coming out of this closet as the door slowly opens. And then the psychiatrist goes over to close it, and he's just like, you want to talk about that drug? Like, trying to get him away from there. And then the psychiatrist closes the door like nothing happened. It's just kind of like, what is this? What is this demon that's affecting him? What is it tied to his power somehow? Is it somehow him in another way? Like, what is this? And honestly, this is the biggest mystery of the episode that's just keeping me engaged and keeping me guessing, because I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what's going on with this creepy demon guy. But we also see, before that scene, there was a scene between David and Sid where she's talking about being in his body after they switched in the hospital, and just all of a sudden, like, everything that was going on, hearing all the voices, and then the creepy demon guy showing up, and then she's the one that killed Lenny. And it's just kind of like, okay, what is this demon guy? Because clearly there's something to him. And then my question kind of gets even bigger whenever we see a scene where David's in this machine with this doctor who's actually kind of funny. Just listening to him, I don't know what his deal is, but it's almost like he starts talking to himself, and David thinks he's talking to him, and he's just like, wait, what? And he's just like, don't move, don't move. But we see that they're putting him through this machine, which is almost like an MRI, and it's measuring and mapping his brain waves as he's going through memory lane. And so we get to this, he's going through all these memory things, and all of a sudden he starts hearing his voice being called, or his name being called. And he realizes it's his sister, and she's looking for him at the hospital where he was. And you can kind of see where this is going as soon as this happened, but of course she's looking for him, can't find him because they don't have his name on record. And then the division, whatever guys, show up to take her. And so we see David, like, he sees this in his mind, like he telepathically senses this, and so he tells the doctor this, and he's just like, "Hang on, you stay there. I'm gonna go get somebody." And he leaves the room, and that's when things start going wrong. And we saw a bit of this going into what happened at the hospital. With all of a sudden the electricity just shuts off, and things start going weird, and you hear this noise, and the demon guy shows up, and all of a sudden David wakes up, and he's just lying on the floor in the same room, and the MRI machine is somehow outside, like completely busted up and damaged. Something is clearly going on with this, and I don't know what it is. Like, it's almost like an explosion of power, so powerful that the MRI machine ends up outside, and yet nothing inside the room is damaged. Like, this is what I don't get. Like, clearly it's this demon thing. Whatever it is overtaking David and causing this destruction, causing the MRI machine to be destroyed, causing Sid and David's body to put Lenny into a wall. Like fuse her body into a wall. Like, clearly that's happening somehow, but how? How does that work? It doesn't damage anything else, but somehow kills people and somehow throws MRI machines out of a room without anything else bad happening. I'm so confused and so intrigued at the same time because it's so interesting. It's really, really interesting, and it's grabbing my attention. It's making me ask so many questions. How is any of this possible? What does this demon guy mean to David? What is going on? It's so fun to just theorize about everything. Whether this is just a part of David's power, whether this is supposed to be like a literal or a figurative image of David's powers manifesting in the form of this demon with yellow eyes, if this is supposed to be something that controls David's powers and just only he can see it, or can anybody else see it but David? Because we've never seen the yellow demon, or the demon with yellow eyes, we've never seen it appear in front of David with anybody else around. We've only ever seen it whenever he's alone. So I'm curious to see if this is just in his mind or if somebody else would be able to see it as well. So many questions, but I'm so intrigued, and I'm really loving what they're doing so far with it. The other thing that I do want to talk about is the relationship that's sort of blossoming between David and Sid. I really think they're doing a good job with it because, it did kind of happen really fast where just all of a sudden they're in a room and it's just like, "Do you want to be my girlfriend?" She's like, "Sure." So the way it happened was really fast, but to be honest, they did grow a lot of chemistry together. Just being together, talking at the hospital, not being able to touch is almost like the thing that's bringing them closer. I don't know, it's kind of strange, but I really love what they're doing with it. And honestly, I think that line, it's kind of a romantic line, talking about we're having a romance of the minds. That could be a tagline for the show, and even though it's not about really the romance, it's more about David's powers and what's going on with that. I do think that this, honestly, it is a show about David, and so whereas in other shows, I'm just going to use as an example, Supergirl. In Supergirl, they focus so much on the relationships, but it's not the ones involving Kara. They do touch on her relationships too, but honestly, when it's a show called Supergirl, I want to see about Supergirl and talking about her relationship with this guy or whether or not she likes him, and then talking about her sister's relationship or whether or not she's going to get together with this girl, and talking about all this other stuff. It's like, I just want to see Supergirl. I don't want to see that stuff. For Legion, it really is a story about David. So it's not just about his powers, it's also about Sid and what she means to him. It's about Lenny and their strange friendship that I'm honestly kind of curious to see how they met, because I was asking, how did he know Lenny? Because at first I thought she was just another figment of his imagination whenever we first saw her. But then it seemed like they were actually kind of friends, and I'm just like, how did they become friends? And we see, apparently they knew each other before the hospital. So I'm curious to see how their friendship started, because she is just kind of out there and she's kind of strange, but I do think she's a funny character, and I'm very interested to see where she's going and what her story is. But like I was saying, kind of got off on a tangent, I do like what they're doing with David and Sid. I think they're really building that relationship very well, and they're not making it the main thing. It's just something else that David's going through right now. You know, the fact that he has Sid in his life to kind of keep him calm at times, to kind of keep him grounded, because he has this girl that he can turn to whenever he needs her. So I love what they're doing right now with the story. I love what they're doing with the characters. I think they've got a really good thing going, and I hope it continues, because honestly, this is a really good show so far. It's only 2 episodes in, I'm loving it. It's really captured my attention, really got me hooked. I'm looking forward to the next episode, so let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What did you like and dislike about this episode? Is there anything I missed that you wanted to talk about? Let me know. We can talk about it, discuss all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Legion reviews, and I'll see you at the next one. Peace out.